This might actually be the greatest success story of any new real estate agent ever. Meet Liz. At the end of her first year, she made over $100,000. In her second year, she more than doubled that, earning over $250,000. At the end of just her third year as a real estate agent, she earned over $500,000. The question is this: while 80% of all real estate agents either fail or quit within their first few years, how was Liz able to get such amazing results? What did she do that other new real estate agents failed to do? And no, it's not what you're thinking. She didn't have a bunch of money to spend on marketing or advertising, and no, she didn't have a sales background. In fact, she had less than $1,000 in her bank account when she first got started. So, what did she do? Like most new agents, Liz didn't realize that she was in fact in a direct sales business. She thought she could just spend her days on Canva creating cute images, posting them on Instagram and Facebook all day, and then magically people would start calling her. She quickly realized that waiting for business to find her was not a great strategy. So in her first 2 months, she racked up over $5,000 in credit card debt trying every new shiny object. She bought Zillow leads, and then when those didn't work, she jumped over to buying leads from Realtor.com. And then when those didn't work, she got herself a Real Geeks platform and started to do a Facebook pay-per-click campaign. She even tried getting involved with her local Chamber of Commerce, thinking if I build relationships inside my community, those people will start sending me business right away. After little success, Liz did something that most new real estate agents failed to do, which brings us to step 1. Hiring a coach. She said she watched one of my YouTube videos, she scheduled a free coaching consultation, and after we had a chance to talk, we agreed that it made sense to work together. And once that happened, I asked her a question point blank. I said, Liz, before we get started, let me ask you this. Why did you decide to hire a coach? She said something to me that most new real estate agents with a fixed mindset just can't accept. She told me that she believed the fastest way to succeed is by finding somebody who has already done what you're trying to do and have them teach you exactly how to do it. So we got started right away, which brings us to step 2. Building a business plan. Liz shared with me that her goal in her first year was to make over $100,000, which I replied, of course it is. This is like most new agents. Most new agents I talk to want to make that magic $100,000 a year. When she told me that, I challenged Liz and I said, if you really want to earn over 6 figures in your first year, when you've never earned this much money before, you're gonna have to do a couple of things. You're gonna have to be coachable, do exactly what I asked you to do, and you must put in the work. If you can do that, you will absolutely achieve your goal. If you can't, you simply won't. It is that simple. Can you accept that? She quickly agreed, and here was the plan she agreed to. 1, we had to create a plan that put Liz 100% in control of her time and her income. That meant building a listing-based business. No longer could we rely on internet leads or hoping and praying that people would send her a referral. Liz had to be in control. So in the first 30 days, here's what we did. Because Liz had no sales background and no formal sales training, she had to start learning her outbound prospecting sales scripts. So I had Liz write out all of her outbound phone sales scripts and her listing presentation 10 times a day over the next 10 days. In the following 10 days, I had Liz record herself reading the phone sales scripts and her listing presentation. And then finally, the last 10 days of her first 30 days in coaching, I had her role play and record her outbound phone sales scripts and her listing presentation on camera with her role play partner so that we could go back and watch the game film. The next thing we had to do in her plan was to outline exactly what Liz had to do in order for her to earn over $100,000 in her first year. So in order to do that, we had to work the numbers backwards. The average commission in her market was $5,000, which meant Liz had to sell at least 20 homes to hit her goal. We then took the average list to sold ratio, being 80%, which meant that that Liz had to take at least 25 listings. So the next thing we had to figure out was how many listing appointments did Liz need to go on in order for her to take 25 listings? We took an average of a 50% closing ratio that most new agents have, which meant Liz had to go on 50 listing appointments in order to secure at least 25 new listings. Then we had to figure out how many people or how many prospects Liz should actually talk to on a daily basis in order for her to secure 50 listings in her first year. So we took the average contact to listing appointment set ratio of 100 people. In other words, it was going to take Liz 100 conversations in order to set her 50 listing appointments. That meant Liz had to commit to 5,000 sales conversations over the phone if she was going to hit her goal, which broke down to about 20 new contacts per day. I explained to Liz that this had to become her new daily obsession. She had to, come hell or high water, have these 20 new conversations every single day if she was going to have a chance at hitting her goal. No longer could she spend hours and weeks and months working on her logo and her business cards and designing sexy websites. The only thing that mattered, the only thing I asked Liz to commit to, was to have 20 new conversations every day. The next thing we put into her plan was a lead generation strategy so that she knew exactly who she was going to call. In the first year, I had Liz focus on 4 lead pillars: expired listings, for sale by owners, absentee owners, and downsizers. To make the process super simple, I had Liz just make 5 contacts. In other words, having 5 conversations with each lead pillar so that we knew by the time she was done prospecting, she would hit her goal of 20 new conversations. Once we had the plan built, it was now time for step 3. Building the daily schedule. The days of Liz doing whatever she felt like were over. I explained to her that her income and her success in real estate was a direct reflection with her daily schedule. The tighter your schedule, the more income and freedom you'll have, not the other way around. So here's the schedule we built for her. 5:30 a.m., wake up and drink 8 ounces of water. 5:30, work out. 6 a.m., take a cold shower. 7 a.m., review your business plan, goals, and your vision board. 7:30, role play and practice. 8 a.m., call the new expired listings. 8:30 a.m., call the new FSBOs. 9 a.m., call absentee owners. 9:30, call downsizers. 10 a.m., you got your 20 conversations. Congratulations. 10 a.m., take a break. 10:30, do your lead follow-up. 11:30, prospecting cleanup and get the database organized. 12, take a lunch break. 1 to 3, do all of your administrative tasks, including calling your clients back, returning texts, voicemails, things of that nature. 4 p.m. and 6 p.m. should be 2 slots on your schedule for listing consultations. And if you don't have appointments, you're doing additional prospecting looking for one. Now it's time to get to work and start taking massive action, which brings us to step 4, accountability. I explained to Liz how important her environment was going to be and the people that surrounded her, her social circle was going to have on her ability to be successful in this business. I explained to her all of the science and how all of the studies show that humans are social creatures and we want to be accepted. I told Liz that one of her biggest challenges as she started to put this plan into action was that most of the agents in her office don't prospect. Most of them don't take this like a real business. And for that, she may get judged. In fact, I told her, I said, Liz, chances are you'll probably be the only agent at your company that prospects on a daily basis. Other agents in your office are going to feel threatened by all of your activity because it will make them feel bad about their inaction. And most likely those agents will grow to resent you. When I told her this, she was in shock, but she got it. It's kind of crazy because I think real estate is the only industry where you get looked down upon with your peers for being productive. It's likely because most agents, when they see another agent in their office being productive, putting in the work, there's something called the mirror effect. And that work reflects right back on them and brings the pain right back onto themselves because most agents are on the edge of getting out of this business And when they see another agent moving forward, it really makes them to feel bad about what they're not doing. Anyways, back to the story. So to ensure Liz had a great environment and she was surrounded by other agents that wanted to better themselves, build a better life, build a successful business, I introduced Liz to a small accountability group. The agreement this group had with Liz was this. Liz was to show up every single day on a Zoom call to make her outbound prospecting phone calls. And for Liz, that meant 2 hours of prospecting on camera Monday through Friday. And if she didn't show up, the price she paid was $500. Money Liz did not have. This worked extremely well for Liz because now she was surrounded by other new agents in their first year going through this journey together. She never felt alone. And at the end of her first year, Liz hit her goal. She ended up selling 24 homes and she earned $118,000. But now, Liz was faced with new challenges. She was generating so much new business that her client experience started to slip. It was very difficult for Liz to focus on both new lead generation and taking care of her current clients. This brings us to step 5, hiring an assistant. In her second year, I explained to Liz that if she was going to keep her new lead generation activities happening, she had to delegate what I call the income servicing activities to a full-time assistant so that she could spend all of her time on income producing activities. So Liz did just that and she hired her first assistant. When she hired her first assistant, I wanted to make sure one thing happened. The person she hired was licensed. The reason I wanted Liz to have a licensed assistant was because I knew the day would come where she would need to build in more leverage in her schedule. And that is exactly what happened. Over the course of her second year, she started delegating not only the income servicing activities, but she also started to delegate offer negotiations, inspection negotiations, and the appraisal negotiation, so that all Liz had to focus on was going out there and getting new business, and her licensed assistant could handle the rest. By the end of her second year, Liz started to become a great salesperson. Her skills started to grow, and the best thing, she started growing a database. She continued to make her 20 conversations every single day, but in her second year, instead of it taking her 100 conversations to get one listing appointment, because of her skills, because of her database, it now only took Liz 50 conversations to set one listing appointment. This and having a full-time assistant helped Liz double her income in her second year, where she made $258,000. As Liz got into her third year, business was booming. But like in her second year, she was faced with even more challenges. As she continued to build her business primarily as a listing agent, the sellers of those homes started hiring Liz to help them find a new home to live. That, coupled with buyers reaching out to Liz off of her signs and her advertising, had Liz working like crazy. This brings us to step 6 in her journey, hiring a buyer's agent. For over 2 years now, Liz has committed to becoming a great salesperson and becoming amazing at securing new listings. Working with buyers and taking buyer inquiries and showing property took Liz away from that focus. So in her third year, Liz hired a full-time agent to work with all of Liz's clients that wanted to purchase a home. Liz found a great agent in her office who was obsessed with client service, just like Liz was. However, this agent just couldn't accept the fact that she must do lead generation every day, so it was a perfect match for Liz. Liz was great at lead generation, the agent she hired was great at client service, and it became a great partnership. The agreement Liz had with her buyer agent was very simple. Any buyer transaction that Liz gave to her agent, they would split the commission 50-50. At this point, Liz was listing about 6 to 7 homes every month. That business then turned around and generated 3 to 4 buyer transactions every month. At the end of Liz's third year, her small team of 3 people sold 120 homes, 84 of those being listings where Liz earned $420,000. 36 of those deals were buyer transactions, which helped to bring in $180,000 in commissions, which she split 50-50 with her buyer's agent. The total resulting in Liz earning over $500,000 in just her third year as a real estate agent. As Liz gets into her fourth year, her goal, as you probably guessed, is to double her income yet again. Her goal is to spend more time on the things that matter most. So her plan is to hire a full-time ISA. The ISA will focus on 20 new conversations, just like it was for Liz in her first 3 years, while Liz now makes contacts inside of her database, building these strong relationships, working on repeat and referral business. Although Liz's story is rare, it does go to show that anybody with the desire, willing to put in the work, and is coachable can succeed in this business. And now I challenge you. Look yourself in the mirror. Ask yourself, are you willing to put in the work? Are you willing to be coached? Are you willing to be held accountable to do the things you say you want to do? Or will you continue to make excuses for yourself? No matter what your current circumstances are, no matter your past, the real estate business has no bias. Those willing to put in the work every day, even on the days they don't feel like it, will be the ones that continue to succeed in this business. And the ones that run away from the work, run away from accountability, will continue to contribute to this insanely high failure rate in this industry. Success, my friends, is a choice. What will you decide?